day to all. I am Shikha Kansal and today I will be telling you some of meaning, type, functions and limitation of statistics, as they are the precursor for the more detailed topics that follows. First of all, I just want to tell you what basically people think of statistics. Data analytics is becoming a widespread phenomena in the business world and a vital component in making key decisions in framing management strategies. With advancements in technologies and digitalization in many aspects of our daily lives, anybody can have access to vast amount of statistical data. Online companies that collect and translates online data into useful information can garner huge amount of money. Statistics to management students is useful for making forecasting models of product, environment and meteorological studies, doing marketing research, supply chain management, medical diagnosis, financial marketing, etc. For example, if we take an example of today COVID-19, statistics of COVID-19 can tell us as to what is the gravity of this pandemic, starting from village, town, district, city, state, country, continent and worldwide. We can just have a look on statistics as to how this pandemic is increasing and how what direction it is taking. So, government can take measures in order to just curb the pandemic in future, and individual basis we can also take measures as to how to protect ourselves from this pandemic disease. Moving ahead as to what is the meaning of statistics to different people. Few says it is a form of mathematics, whereas others suggest it as tables, charts, figures commonly found in newspapers, journals, books, reports, speech, classroom lectures, TV, etc. Statistics involves methods of refining numerical and non-numerical data or information into useful data. To most people, statistics generally refers to information that is expressed in numbers. What are numbers? Meaningful numbers play an important role in statistics. Number provide raw material to statistics. They represent quantities and values of commodities sold, being produced, being purchased, assets of a person, assets of a company, liabilities of a company, liabilities of a person, number of customers visited in the visited on garment shop or in any banquet hall, etc. Whereas, wherever numbers are collected and compiled regardless of what they convey, what they are about, they become statistics. Now, for example, let us take an example of a McDonald's outlet in any of the city. There are a number of products which a McDonald's offer to its customers, and there are a number of types of customers who visit in the McDonald outlet. For example, starting from a child to a middle aged person to a elderly person. What is their taste of that outlet? So, looking at which of the product is the cash cow of that outlet and which is the product which is being asked or demand least, a manager can just find out looking at the statistics of the number of the product being asked. They can just find out as to what is being asked more frequently and which product is being asked least. So, depending upon that, they can have their product being produced, or we can say they can have their product ready for the delivery. According to different we can say according to different languages, different countries, what is the meaning of statistics to different people? The word statistics is derived from a Latin word status, an Italian word statista, a German word statistic, where each word mean the same and the meaning is political state. In old days, statistics was regarded as the science of statecraft and is said to have originated from two main sources. Number one source is government records and the second is mathematics. The word statistics can be used in two different ways. One is singular way, where the singular means single use, whereas the second is plural way, where plural means many. Singular form of statistics says when statistics refers to a method of dealing with quantitative information, whereas plural form of statistics says when statistics refers to quantitative information. The method by which statistical data are analyzed or collected are called statistical methods, whereas mathematical theories which are based on these methods are called as theory of statistics or mathematical statistics. For example, if I want to show you an example, there are 50 students in a class and we are supposed to just see how is the performance of the students in the class. If for example, I want to see a performance of one student as compared to the whole class, what I will do in the report card, I have a histogram which has for one particular subject which has 3 different bars. The highest bar shows the maximum marks which can be obtained by the student. The second bar, the first bar here in the graph, it shows the marks obtained by a particular student for whom we want to find out how he has performed, and the third bar shows the average marks of the class. This shows different subjects. The x bar shows different subjects, whereas y bar shows marks. Now, for example, there are 3 bars, but if we have different bars of the same kind of different subjects, it gives me the result as a whole. So, if I am comparing my student of, if I am comparing student x marks as compared to the whole class, then it is called as singular form of data, because I am using histogram to compare that student's marks with the as compared to the whole class, whereas since this graph shows the marks of the whole class, it is called as a plural form of data. So, at the same time we can use a data in singular form also and a plural form also. When we collect our data from a single person, for a single person, then it is called as a singular data, but when we have data for masses, it is a plural form of data. But in order to find out as to how that plural data can give me one information, can give me one number. For example, here I have got average marks of the whole class, it gives me by the help of histograms I am showing. So, it is called as a singular form of quantitative data, where I am showing marks obtained by a student as compared to the marks obtained by the whole class. Moving on to the next slide, what are the definitions of statistics? Till now what we have understood? It is the aggregate of facts affected to a marked extent by multiplicity of causes, numerically expressed, enumerated or estimated according to reasonable standard of accuracy, collected in a systematic manner for a predetermined purpose, and is placed in relation to one another. This definition talks about what are the characteristics of statistics. First of all, it is aggregate of facts. Aggregate of facts means single and isolated figures are not statistics. If I have one data, then it is not called statistics, but in statistics we talks about aggregate of facts, we talks about masses, because single data or two datas, they are not interrelated, they cannot be compared. So, statistics talks about aggregate of facts. Now, second comes, it is affected to a marked extent by multiplicity of causes. That is, facts and figures which we obtain, they are multiple causes which are affecting that factor, which is affecting that result, which is affecting that statistics, and which is giving rise to that statistic. There are a number of facts, there are a number of figures which are due to which we are having that kind of statistics. For example, if we talk about demand of ice cream in 2020, if we see the statistics, we see that the demand for ice cream in 2020, it has deteriorated with a huge amount of it has just gone down, just because in 2020 we are facing the problem of pandemic COVID-19, and according to ICMR, what they say, according to medical people, according to doctors, they say that if you eat cold things, if you drink cold, then what will happen, the virus, you are more prone to get infected by that virus, because it is there in cold weather, or in cold you can have it in if you drink cold things. So, in comparison to this, we can see that the demand for the statistics can show us the demand for tea, demand for coffee, hot coffee, demand for turmeric latte, that is haldi wala doodh, it has increased with time because of the prescription of doctors, which says that COVID-19 we can just have, we can curb this pandemic by drinking hot drinks. Now, moving further, it is numerically expressed. The statistics is numerically expressed, which shows the values for statistics are comparable, are countable, and we can as well as numerically expressed if they are in numbers. Next is, it can be enumerated according to reasonable standards of accuracy. Facts and figures about any phenomena can be derived in two different ways. One is actual counting and one is measurement or by estimation. Actual counting means what? Actual counting means if we had to book tickets, railway tickets, or we want to book flight tickets, then we can just go ahead and we can just check whether the number of seats are available or not. Whereas what is estimation? Estimation is we don't know that how many people will come up for a buffet party, for a buffet in a conference, or we cannot find out how many people will turn up if there is some political rally. So, it is just number of, we can estimate as to how many people will, how many heads will be there. So, it is according to some reasonable standard of accuracy we are supposed to plan everything when we are talking about statistics. Collected in a systematic manner. Next, before collecting statistics, a suitable plan of data collection should be prepared and work is carried out in a systematic manner. Collected for a predetermined purpose. The purpose of data collection must be decided in advance. Again, taking an example of COVID-19, number of beds in the hospital needed, number of oxygen cylinders needed, then number of ICU beds needed, all we know, because looking at the statistics of what is the number of COVID-19 patients, how it is increasing and how many is more required, how many hospitals should have these many facilities to curb or to help the people who are suffering with this same disease. So, what happens is we are supposed to just have a plan in mind that how we are supposed to, how and why we are doing it. So, it is called as a collection for a predetermined purpose as to why we are doing it. The last one is should be placed in relation to one another. Statistical data are often compared period wise or region wise only if the data is homogeneous. Taking an example, we cannot compare, or it is it is regardless to compare the height of an elephant to a height of a human being. So, we can only compare things which are homogeneous in nature, which can be compared. A height of a person can be compared with the height of another person. Weight of a person can be compared with the weight of another person, and so on. There is one more definition which talks about statistics is the science of collection, organization, presentation, analysis and interpretation of numerical data from the logical analysis. Now, what does collection means? Collection means investigating of the data done by the investigator by two different sources. One is called as primary and one is called as secondary. What is primary source? Primary source means you are doing it for the first time. It is first handed and it is never being used before. That data is called as primary data. Whereas, when we are collecting the data from secondary source, secondary means it has already been collected, it has already been used, but you are using that data to increase your knowledge, to have some better knowledge, to have some better understanding of that similar topic. So, you are using that primary data or you are using that already used data, and that data becomes a secondary source for you, it gives you a secondary data. Next comes organizing. Organizing says what? Organizing says arranging the data according to some common characteristics possessed by the items of the data. The most important thing in organizing is editing. What we are supposed to do? Editing means just take the data which is of my need and just remove the data which is irrelevant for me. So, while organizing the data, we are supposed to do editing of the data, where we use only the data which is needed for us, we keep that data and other data we just throw it. Next comes presentation of data. Presentation means it is done in the form of graphs, in the form of charts, in the form of diagrams, in the form of pie charts, in the form of histograms and so on. Next comes analysis of data. Analysis means we are digging out informations, we are using the information for the useful decision making. Analysis means we are studying the data and to find out as to how we can find, how can we decide as to what should be the next step. The last, according to this definition, comes interpretation. Interpretation means we are now finally concluding the data, concluding what the information is being given by the data, and in conclusion we need what the most important thing which we need is somebody who knows how to read the data, somebody who is understanding the data, somebody whose expertise in that data reading, somebody whose expertise in statistics and can give us proper results. If and only if that person is understanding the data, is highly expertise in reading statistical data, then only he can do this. Otherwise it will lead us to it can give us wrong results and can give us make the data collection and make the statistics wrong. So it is better to employ somebody who is having high skill and expertise in statistical reading. Next comes, there are two branches of statistics. One is called as descriptive, means when we draw tables, charts, diagrams, and second is called as inferential. Inferential means when we are using hypothesis. What is descriptive basically? Descriptive means when we are involving organizing, summarizing and displaying of data through tables, graph, charts, averages, etc. For example, a teacher who arranges scores obtained by the students in his class in the form of graph. Like I have just shown, the marks obtained by a particular student as compared to the highest marks scored, can be scored, or the marks obtained by the average scored in the class. So, when a teacher arranges a score obtained by a student in a class in the form of a graph, that means my child marks is this, whereas average shows this and the highest mark obtained by somebody or can be obtained could be this. So, this is called as descriptive statistics. Whereas, what is inferential statistics? Inferential statistics involves drawing conclusions or inferences about the population using sample data taken in the form of population. This includes, I told you, estimations and hypothesis testing, which we will be doing in the further units. Hypothesis means we are supposed to assume that this could also be one of the solution. In this we do null hypothesis and H1 and H0, fine. Next comes, for example, taking example of inferential statistics, a research done wishes to find out whether or not the exposure to pollution may reduce the lifespan of people around the globe or not. So, we are just expecting, we are just thinking that this could be one of the solution or this could be one of the problem by doing hypothesis testing, by assuming, by doing null hypothesis or alternate hypothesis and finding out as to what could be the reason for the reduction of lifespan of people. Moving ahead, as to what are the functions of statistics, the most important thing, how and why we are using statistics. The first is it presents facts in defined form and helps in proper comprehension of what is stated. This shows as to whatever we are talking about, whatever we are taking, which example we are taking, why we are collecting the data. So, statistics basically talks about it gives us the data in the form of figures, in the form of it helps in comprehension, it helps in understanding as to what those numbers are talking about. It is only by the help of statistics that we can find out that the marks scored by students are going high in the next level or going down in the next level. So, by the help of comparison basically we can find out as to what could be done in the next future. It simplifies masses of figure and helps in condensing mass data into few significant figures. Next, it facilitates comparison to convey definite meaning. For example, there are online sale which is going on these days because of Diwali, because of might be next month we have Christmas. So, what is the sale, how, who is going ahead? If we want to study in online sale, we can compare and we can compare different different online sites, for example Myntra, for example Amazon, for example Flipkart, how we can do the comparison by the help of statistics as to how people are just demanding and which site is more in demand. So, statistics basically helps in comparison. It helps in formulation and testing hypothesis to develop new theories. How we can develop new theories is, for example, if Mother Dairy in future wants to establish another production plant in NCR, how the Mother Dairy can find out as to whether to have another production plant in NCR or not, just by looking at what is the demand of Mother Dairy products or Mother Dairy milk or other products in NCR. Looking at the sales by the sales department of Mother Dairy, they can just find out, and they can, this is just a hypothesis, they can just plan for future and they can just think over whether to establish a plant in NCR or not. Fifth, it helps in predicting and hence helps in gaining knowledge of future trends. The same example we can take again. Next, as statistics provide basic raw material, therefore, it helps in formulating suitable policies relating to economic, social and political issue. For example, looking at the population increase in India, the government has started and they have started up new plans for the birth control rate. So, this is one of the economic issue which the government is facing today, and to curb that economic issue, looking at the statistics of the population, they are now what they are doing in order to curb the issue of population increase, they are finding out different measures, they are finding out different method as to how to control increasing population. So, this is with the help of statistics of population. Next comes, what are the limitation of statistics? The most important thing, what is the limitation of statistics? Statistics deals only with quantitative data, it talks only about numbers, it cannot talks about quality. The characteristics that cannot be expressed in numbers are incapable of statistical analysis. For example, if somebody is beautiful, we cannot measure in numbers. If somebody is very intelligent, we cannot measure in numbers until unless we give some test, we put that person's intelligence onto the test papers and we record those tests in numbers. We cannot measure the intelligence because it is a quality, it is not a quantity of anybody. So, only the quantities can be measured and not the quality of a person or a thing. Next limitations talks about statistics does not deal with individual measures, it only talks about masses. For example, if we talk about cricket match, the score which is scored by the team is its score. If we talk about personal performance, cannot be. We only talks about masses, how the whole team has performed. So, statistics does not deal with the individual measures, it talks about the whole masses. Statistical results are true only on average and not universally true. Why they are not universally true is because when we are talking about the score scored by the team, we are talking about team, we are not talking about individual, because that score has been scored by the whole team, and when we talk about the performance of a particular cricketer, it is something different. Next, statistics is only one of the method of studying a problem, as it does not provide the best solution under all circumstances. For example, if we talk about elections, what are different news channels doing? They are just predicting that one could be winner, the other could be loser. They just predict as to what could be the results of that election, what could be the exit polls, but are they really true always? No, because statistics only this is one method of studying a problem or studying a situation. It is not always true that whatever statistics is talking about is always true, it is not that. So, it is just one of the measure of studying a problem. The fifth one is statistics can be misused due to incomplete information, lack of experience, skills to draw sensible conclusions from the data, it can be easily misused. statistics can only be used and can only be taken right direction only if it is used by a person whose expertise in using statistics, who has knowledge, who has past experience, who knows how to work on that kind of data. So, statistics can be easily misused. For example, if we have a data of a class of different subjects and somebody does not know how to go through, and if somebody does not know how to read that data, somebody does not know how to put that data into numbers, it can be easily misused. Looking at the highest value, he can say the whole class has scored that marks. Looking at the lowest value, he can say the whole class has scored that marks, but it is not so. So, statistics can only be used by the person who has high knowledge of statistics, who knows how to draw, who knows how to draw inferences, who knows how to draw conclusions. For that, they need to have expertise, they need to have experience, they need to have knowledge, they need to have subject knowledge, they need to have practical knowledge of that statistics. For example, if I say I have a pie chart, if I have a pie chart of different zones of a locality, of a city. For example, we have 3 different zones, one is called red, one is orange and one is green. So, this is green zone, this is orange zone, this is orange zone and this is red zone. If somebody does not know what this pie chart shows, and I have given it a heading as COVID-19, a person who knows how to just read this pie chart can easily find out as to what it is communicating, but a person who does not know how to just go through this pie chart cannot tell you what it is telling about. He just knows this is a circle and it has 3 different areas divided, does not know what it is telling you, but a person who knows how to go through can easily tell. For example, he can easily tell you that there is a particular region which is called red zone here, there is a region which is orange zone here, and there is a region which is called green zone here, and what is the percentage of it looking at it, because a pie chart is of 360 degrees. What is the degree belongs here, what is the degree here, what is the degree here. So, a person need to have expertise as to making you understand, as to give you the result, as to give you the inferences of what statistics talks about. So, when dealing with a large data set, to make informed decisions and to understand the impact of decision taken, statistics is a good tool. Thank you.